Hello and welcome to Young Urban Project's YouTube channel. I'm Puneet Tandon and I'm very excited for today's video because what you will learn today is one of the hottest and the most in-demand skills lately. As you would have already seen on the video title, this is an introduction to building AI agents, no code. To be honest, this workshop is a recording of an actual live session that I did with a closed group of people from our alumni community. This was going to be a paid workshop, but I thought that this was really valuable and would massively help anyone who's looking to start building and earning from AI agents. So, no gatekeeping here. I would suggest you grab a pen and paper and get ready to build your first AI agent. Before that, make sure that you've subscribed to our YouTube channel, Young Urban Project, for more such videos. So, let's get started. Hello. Good evening. Good evening. Good. Now, what we'll do is, uh, I'm going to get started. I'm going to set a lot of context today. Just a little bit of a background of why we are here and what we are going to do. Uh, Number one, my name is Puneet Tandon. I'm the founder of Young Urban Project. A lot of you have met me before. Some of you are meeting me probably for the first time. So hello to you. Uh, one of the one of the things we've been seeing since a while is that AI agents has really caught up as a entire domain, as a part of marketing, as a part of automation. Now, again, setting some context, we've seen that AI agents has been catching up a lot, and there's a lot of confusion around AI agents. Also, a little bit of a FOMO around AI agents. The moment you go on LinkedIn and people are posting those screenshots of their AI agents, workflows, and you keep wondering, what is this? How do I do this? And there are also people sharing JSON files that you can just download and then you can use. What is N8N? What is happening? Now, that's what we are going to try and do. So people who are in the AI marketing course by Young Urban Project, you guys already know what AI agents are. So I'm guessing you're here just for a refresher because you know the advanced stuff. Today, we are going to do a lot of basics about AI agents. We are going to build one live, and I hope that you will also be able to do that yourself. You can follow along, or you can do that later. Just be very be curious and ask me questions and interact with me. That's what keeps me going. Now we're going to build go from the absolute basics. People who know me know that I always start with context before I get into the hands on stuff because I want you to know why we are doing something before we start doing that. Right? So, we're going to start with that. We're going to start with the basics. I'll explain exactly what AI agents are. Then we'll look at what are the fundamentals and the anatomy of an agent, and then we will build an agent. Um, you do not need to purchase any paid tool for this. At least to try this out, you don't need any paid tool. You might I'll give you free methods of doing this, or there are trial tiers available that you can go through. Okay, with that, I welcome all of you to this session. We are going to try and optimize the time well, so that's we don't extend it too much without rushing through it. So let's get started. I'm going to share my screen, and if you can just confirm to me, if you can just 1 second, you can confirm to me if you can see my screen. Let me know. You can see my screen. Yes, you can. All right. Thank you for confirming. So welcome to the AI Agents 101 workshop, where we are going to also do a live build. I'll talk about the use case in a bit. What's that use case? What is it we are building? And I hope it's going to be really valuable for you. Okay, so let's talk about what this workshop is really about. Now, this is not a tool demo. I'm not here to just teach you, uh, what a lot of videos on YouTube are, where they teach you what the tool is. This is also not an advanced session. This is a beginner friendly session. So you do not need any prior experience in AI agents to learn as a part of this session. This is also not a prompt writing session, right? I'm not going to teach you how to write prompts. Uh, Also, the goal is to not make this very theory heavy. We're going to set some context, but that's going to be about it. A lot of time is going to be spent on the dashboard while building things. So that's the goal. This is a new way to think about work. Now, I want you to, and I hope that by the end of this, you will entirely rewire what you think about agents if you know a little bit about it. How do you approach agents and how do you think about them? You stop looking at them as a cool novel technology to post on LinkedIn about, and you really start thinking about it from actually a productivity and money making point of view. So that's number one. I also feel that this is also going to be a very practical introduction to AI agents. And we'll build a live use case. And I've selected this very carefully because I think this will become, this will get useful for all of you. The agent we built today is sort of agnostic when it comes to being helpful for everybody. Now, let's understand before getting into the agent, let's see what has led to AI agents, right? Um, so, how knowledge work used to actually happen in the past. When I say in the past, means probably a year back. Uh, a lot of what we do, whether as marketers, product marketers, founders, a lot of our work follows a similar um, sort of a process, right, or a cadence. Now, what is that? We search for information whenever we are trying to build something, we are planning campaigns, we are doing research. A lot of that starts from searching information. We end up then reading multiple sources, right? We consume content from various sources. That could be through Google search links that you see on the SERP. It could be through YouTube. It could be maybe you're using something like a notebook LM. You're using any of those things, or you're reading books, actual books. Um, so that's what we do. Then we sort of shortlist what matters out of the plethora of information that is around. So we handpick what is important for that particular task. Then we convert it into a usable output, and then we share it with others, whether it's shareholders, stakeholders, it's customers, sales teams. So this is how generally the knowledge work happens, where we start with this research, and then we turn it into a usable output, and then it gets shared. Now, the same process keeps repeating even though the output changes, right? If you're building campaigns, the process is similar. Or you're doing research for a new product launch, it works. You're doing competitive benchmarking, it's similar. The process or the steps are similar, the output changes. Now, which means that the real bottleneck here isn't execution, right? Because we all are able to execute. But there is a reason why we are not as productive as founders or marketers or product marketers. The bottleneck isn't execution. So, what is the bottleneck here? The bottleneck is repeatable thinking. We are repeatedly doing the same thing, right? We are scanning similar information. We are applying the same judgment. We are also structuring similar outputs, and we have to do this daily or weekly. Let's take an example of somebody who's probably managing social media for a brand. Now, a lot of what goes there, that, oh, this brand operates in a certain category or a niche. Uh, and you have to make content for that. And you have a process, right? Some people have a process. Maybe you're one of those who, just eyeball stuff. But what generally happens is you start searching for latest updates or news around that category, the trends around that category, or you're looking at competitors in that category. All of that is happening. Then you apply the judgment whether this is on brand or not on brand. Will it fit? Does it achieve the objectives we have for this brand from a social media point of view? You apply that judgment and decide whether you could this sort of content can be created or not. Then you structure the outputs, and you have to do this every day, every week, month on month, because that's how content calendars work, right? They are repeatable systems. That means if you get stuck at any of these stages, you're stuck. And that is the bottleneck, right? The thinking isn't the you everyone knows what needs to be done, but people have creative blocks, people have knowledge blocks because of bottlenecks that arise due to these things. Now, you would say that, okay, automation has been there for a while, right? And we can automate things, we can do some sort of research. And people who have been a part of our digital marketing program, automations, and how those are created. There are automations around. You can um, sort of create some sort of an automation where you get you know um, you can go to Google Trends to go through what is the latest trending thing. You might also be able to create some sort of an automation where every day you get something delivered to you. But what is the problem then? If automations have been existing since a while, what is it that is missing, and why do we need agents? Let's understand that. Now, automation has helped us do something. Now, automation helps us move data. And I'll give you an example. Let me show that to you. Let's say you you have an automation in place. And for people who don't know what automation is basically a step of a series of tasks that happen one after the other. And let me explain that with an example. Let's say you are generating leads on your landing page, right? This is your landing page. I'll call it LP. And let's say there is a form here. And then there's a submit button. Now, what should happen when a lead is generated? Somebody fills up this form, submits it. The first thing that probably should happen is um, an email should go to them, right? An email should go to them which says, "Hey, thank you for submitting your information. We'll get back to you." Stuff like that, right? Then this lead probably should, and let's say you're using something like a MailChimp here or a Brevo here, one of those tools. After this information, the lead information should get into a CRM tool, right? And that could be HubSpot or Zoho or Lead Squared or any of those CRM tools. From the CRM tool, it should then obviously get assigned to sales team and stuff. And also, let me make sales team, I'll money making team. And after that, probably this lead should get into a drip sequence, which means an email automation sequence where emails go one after the other, right? So let's say this is the sequence that gets created. So people start getting those drip nurture emails one after the other on different days. And this is what can be taken care of by automation, because it's the same thing that has to happen. Only the only thing that is changing here is the information that the user has filled. So I would be filling up my email ID and my phone number. You would be doing that for yourself. And that data through automation will keep flowing, right? So basically, we've got the data at the first step. Uh, we later, you'll understand, we also call this the trigger. We get the data at the first step, and then we keep moving the data one step down through a linear path. And that's what automation does. Also, automation allows us, this entire thing starts when the first step happens, right? So it allows us to figure out what's the first step. If that happens, then do that. So if this happens, then do that. So if the user submits the lead form, then go to the next step, then go to the next step, then go to the next step. Easy. So that's what automation does. Also, automation massively saves us time on execution. Now, imagine if we were using a Google form here, and when the user filled up the leads, their information, the details would come into a, let's say, a Google sheet from the form, and then we had to copy that, go and paste it within the contacts on our email marketing tool like a MailChimp or something. Then we probably had to go and put it in, create a lead or a contact within a CRM tool like HubSpot, and then manually send this on Slack to a sales team, and then send emails one after the other. It would take a crazy amount of time, but this solves that. Automation solves that. But what is it that automation cannot do? What is it that cannot be done here, which led to the rise of AI agents? Now, this is what happens. An automation cannot decide what is relevant, what is not relevant, right? If you have a lead form and somebody submits, the automation will flow as defined in the rules. It cannot decide whether this is a, this looks like a relevant lead or not a relevant lead. It can't do that unless it's a very objective yes or no sort of a scenario. Then automation also cannot adapt to new information. The automation that we just created, it is based on rules. If the rules are followed, it will keep flowing. If any new information is added, the automation will not be able to process that. Also, automation cannot apply judgment. Also, automation cannot create new ideas. Automation can flow the take the data, manipulate it, and flow it across, but it cannot create new stuff there. You can use AI, so there are types of automations which use AI, and I'll show you what those look like also. But an agent is something that fills these gaps. It's like an automation, but it can decide what is relevant. It can make decisions. It can adapt to new information. It can apply judgment and it can create new ideas. Now, in the same example that I gave you for the lead form, let's say the lead form is again here. All right. Now, let's say there are a few things you've added here, right? You're taking the email ID of the person, you're taking the seniority or the company name from the person, and you have a box where a user can fill in what is it that they really need, right? What are the challenges they are facing? For, let's say you're a B2B SaaS business, and or you're a service providing agency, and the lead person who's filling up the lead form, they can actually put in the information of what, pain points are they looking to solve, and how they want your help. Now in this scenario, instead of directly just linearly flowing the information to the next step, an agent can actually go through this, understand the context, decide whether this is, an okayish lead. It's okay. It can go to the regular CRM and then get assigned to a salesperson and stuff, or it can decide that, hey, this is a really warm lead. This looks like a really good lead, and we should act really fast on this. Right? It can do that, and further, it can decide, what sort of, does it need an immediate human intervention, or should it go to some other process. All those decisions can be done by the agent like a human would. And agent also knows when to, you can get the agent to also know when to involve a human in the loop. So all of that can be done. While it works a lot like human, but an agent can also bring in a human by deciding itself, which an automation can't do, because automation is rule based. It goes from one step to the next, to the next, to the next. So this is why automation moves the data, but it doesn't really think. So why AI agents exist? AI agents exist to handle repeatable thinking, not repeatable doing, which automation does. AI agents exist to handle repeatable thinking. So AI agents are basically systems that can observe information, they can reason about that information, they can reason with it, they can apply logic to it, they can use different tools. They can decide whether to use a calendar, Google Calendar, a Calendly link. Should they use Wikipedia? Should they use Google search to achieve a goal? They can also take an action, and they can keep doing this continuously, right? Now, another good part about an agent is, an agent needs to be told what is the goal, right? Let's say we have told the agent that we want it to highlight and categorize leads based on how warm they are, right? So let's say there is a form which people can fill up, and we've told the agent to get the context from each lead and identify which are the really warm leads, and then route them to the relevant people, and the other leads can go to the normal route. This can be achieved through the agent. Now here, We can also, let's say we are getting the LinkedIn URLs of people or the company names we are taking in the lead form. The agent can decide to find out whether this is a company that is aligned to the services we are giving or not. All of that agent decides by itself. You ask it that, hey, use the internet search to find out about things, use LinkedIn, go through LinkedIn profiles if you want, read about other things, then use the CRM tool, use Slack, whatever. All the tools are given to the agent decides for each scenario which tools to use, which not to use, which is something the automation can't really do, right? Not at least at the sort of level we are speaking about. So that's what agents do. A quick check with everyone. Is there any question on the difference between what is the difference between automation or and what is the difference between automation and AI agents? If you're crystal clear, write CC on the chat. Sushant says it's crystal clear. If you're crystal clear, write CC on the chat. If you have a question, ask me that question. Neha says CC. Okay. Paritosh, crystal clear. Arpita, crystal clear. E is crystal clear. Sambit, Sarvana, Debraj, Shorat is crystal clear. Nachiket, Toshita, Pragya, Manash, crystal clear. Kunal, crystal clear. Anybody, all the other people, go ahead. And if you have a question, you can ask me. It'll automatically get a lot clearer when we start to build stuff. And I'll show you how those things are working. So hold on to that. So Bharat, Hari Prasad, good. All right. Let's go back now. Let's go back now. Now, going to share a mental model with you, which shows you the difference between AI agents and an automation. This is an important concept because a lot of people that speak about building agents are actually not building agents. They are basically building automations, right? On LinkedIn, I see this all the time. People calling something an agent, but it's not really an agent. It's an automation. And hopefully you'll be able to spot those differences and spot those errors after this. Now, the automation, it can execute the steps like I showed you. There are steps predefined, and those are linear, and the data flows from one direction to the next, from left to right. The data flows just like that. However, an agent doesn't execute the steps that are given to it. It pursues a goal. We define a goal to it. We say that, okay, categorize and highlight the most important leads for us that we should prioritize. The agent would do it using whatever methods it wants, right? Whatever tools it wants, uh, whatever efforts it wants, right? Rohit says, can you give a one more example of automation? Sure, I'll do that. Akani says the volume is very low. Okay, now let me do something. Let me. I feel some of the people are finding a little bit trouble in the volume. Let me just try and change my camera, not the camera, the microphone, and let's see if you can hear me better with that. Okay. All right. Now I've just changed my microphone. You tell me, can you hear me better? Is this better than the other one or not? Oh, it's the same. Abhas says it's the same. You guys didn't say hello when I was asking, right? You guys, Abhas, I didn't see. Akani says better. When you keep mic closer, it's fine. Neha says when you keep mic closer, it was fine. If I get it any closer, it'll have to be in my in my mouth. Okay. Okay. Abbas says joined in late. That's okay. That's okay. I'm messing with you. I'm happy you're here. And thank you for joining me. Okay. Is this fine? Should I continue like this? Are you guys good? Audio is better. Okay, let's do this then. All right. Now, uh, I think somebody just asked me that can you give an example of another example of automation? Let me show this to you again. Let's clear this. Let's clear this. Okay. Let's say you have a Shopify website or a WooCommerce website, right? Let's say Shopify. And you have a product page. From the product page, people go to your payment page. And let's say you're taking payments through either Stripe, or you're taking them through Razorpay, one of these payment gateways, right? Or PayPal or whatever. Um, so let's say you're taking payments through this. After this, what happens is once the payment is collected, something should happen, right? In this scenario, whatever the user, it could be any user out there, the steps are the same. The first step should be once the payment is collected, send an order confirmation email to the customer, then add add the user um, to a CRM or sort of a sales tracker or an email marketing tool. Any of those things can go. Probably also, you know, attach a tag of what sort of a product that they purchase. So assign a tag to them. Then probably also want to send a WhatsApp message to them, right? And maybe you're using something like Interact. Um, you're using something like Vati, any of these WhatsApp automation tools. And then you also want to add these people into an email sequence, a single sequence of emails, where now you start sharing more similar products with them, right? And maybe you send a weekly newsletter to them, so all of that can be done. This is an automation, right? Now, the only thing that changes is the user's details who's purchased that, right? Different users will have different email IDs and phone numbers and addresses. But everything else applies same as is. The entire process is the same. So the rules have been defined that when this happens, then do that. After that, do this. After that, do this, then do this. Then after one day, do this, and so on. Right? Does that does that help you understand automation much better? You see, there is no decision making involved because the rules are the same. It doesn't matter. The rules have been defined, and it just keeps flowing as is. No decision making involved. The automation didn't have to make a decision whether I should prioritize this person's order or not, whether I should, the maybe the address doesn't feel right, maybe I should highlight that a call should be arranged. None of that is happening, right? Okay, good. Rohit, okay, all right. So let's go back. Now we know that automation is rule based. AI agents are intent based. We give it the intent, what it needs to do, and it'll do that. Automations are also quite fragile. Anything changes. Because you are using multiple tools as a part of the automation. Let's say something changes with the data that is coming in. Maybe you change the form. The entire automation will go for a toss, right? But an AI agent can be adaptive. It can adapt based on the changes also. Automations don't do any judgments. AI agents can follows embedded reasoning, right? It's a part of the process to reason, and you can do that. You can add AI models as a part of it, and we'll do that in a bit. Automation basically asks, what do I need? What should I do? Give me the steps, I'll do those. It's a great assistant who doesn't have a mind of their own, and it will do exactly, like an intern. You tell them what needs to be done, they will exactly do that. But agents, those are like those experienced folks around you. They will ask you, hey, what do you want to achieve? What is it that you want to get done? Then I'll show you the best way of getting that done. Instead of you giving me a path, I will tell you which is the best way of getting something done. That's what an agent does, right? Now that we've understood the difference between an agent and an automation, and we also have some idea about why do we use an agent, why do we need an agent. Let's understand the anatomy of an AI agent. Okay, the anatomy of an AI agent. Now this is what generally an agent looks like. An agent always will start with a trigger, right? And this particular thing, let me highlight that for you. This particular thing that you are seeing, the entire structure, this is the AI agent node. Node is just any point as a part of the workflow that we are building. This is called the AI agent node. It has three parts, broad parts under it. One is the brain, or the LLM. So this is where we are going to bring in an AI model like OpenAI, Gemini, DeepSeek. Any of those models will come here. Then there's another part to it which is called the memory. I'll explain this. And then you assign the tools that the agent can use. So Gmail is a tool, Mailchimp is a tool, Calendly is a tool. All of these are tools, right? So these are the three things that are assigned, and then the agent processes information based on all these things that it has access to, and then it sends data to the next step. Let's understand each of these things before we actually build this. The first is the trigger. Trigger is how the agent wakes up. Now, when you create an automation or an agent, it is dormant. Dormant means you've created it, but it is sleeping. It will only wake up when a certain thing happens, right? That certain thing is generally called the trigger. Like how there is a trigger on the gun. The bullet is inside, the gun could be cocked. That means, the spring is condensed. The bullet will only start leaving the barrel when the trigger is pressed. Otherwise, the gun will stay dormant, right? That's exactly how the trigger works. Now, in our examples that we just saw, a user submitting a lead form is a trigger, or a user making a payment is a trigger. All of these are triggers, right? You could have other triggers, right? You could have a scheduled trigger. That means this particular automation should work every day at 9 a.m. So it should automatically take place. Or when a user comes and initiates a chat, this automation should start working, right? So that is what it is. Let me I'm getting a little bit of feedback on the chat. I'm hearing some noise, so let me mute everyone. If you are accidentally unmuted, let me mute everyone. You can ask me questions. You have the chat box. Please feel free to ask me if you want me to repeat something. The next thing is, so like, one of the triggers could be this automation should run every morning. So we have at Young Urban Project, we have an automation um, which happens every morning, where I get a report of all the ad campaigns that are running for us. And for the previous day, I get a report of how much was spent on each campaign, what was the ROAS like, basically the return we've made out of it, how many sales have we got, any uh, particular campaign that needs attention. So all of those things I get every morning. So it's more of a bird's eye view report. And there is no human involved. Once it's created, it keeps running automatically. It saves a lot of time for me to having to go into ad dashboards to go through and view all those things. It is amazing for me. You could also do that once a week, something once a week, or whenever a new sale happens or a lead form gets submitted. That's the trigger. The next thing you need to know before building the agent is the goal. The goal is, what is the output you are expecting out of it. A good goal generally is outcome based. For example, I need a report which highlights which campaigns, the spending versus returns of each campaign, and it should highlight if there are any well performing campaigns which are performing above benchmark, or there are any campaigns which are performing below benchmark and they need my attention. So this is the outcome. And if I don't know this, then I'm randomly building stuff. If I build an agent without exactly knowing what I want, then it's not really an agent. The agent can be intelligent, but it also needs me to be intelligent enough to expect the right things out of it. Also, it should be clear and it should be specific. If you've heard about a concept called smart goals, you should that's what you need for an agent, right? Smart is specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. So read about it if you get time, about smart goals. Now, one of the goals that you could give to the agent, and you would like this, right? Find fresh content ideas that can be turned into Instagram reels every morning, right? So you define a niche. that, hey, my cat the category I operate in, for example, is skincare, and I want fresh content ideas that I can turn into reels, Instagram reels or TikTok videos, and those ideas get generated every morning. That is brilliant, right? So saves you from the creative block. The next thing as a part of the agent is the brain. This is how the agent thinks, right? We've mentioned that agent uses reasoning, embedded reasoning. It applies logic. How is that happening? That brain is your AI. And those AI models could be, like I said, OpenAI, Gemini, DeepSeek, or any other models that are available to you, Claude, any of those. The role of the brain is to interpret information. It can understand. I could say that, hey, this is the a lead form that the user has filled up. Look at it and tell me whether these they are interested or not interested. So it can do that. Then it can reason through ambiguity. Sometimes people write things, but let's say somebody has filled up a lead form and they've written stuff, right? We are facing this, we are facing that. The AI can actually decipher what exactly are the pain points they are talking about and whether we can help them or not. And it can follow a thinking process. The AI is not the agent. It is so a lot of people think that open AI is the agent, the model that we are using, like GPT 4.0, 5.0. People think this is the agent. It's not. Think of the agent like a full body, and the LLM or the AI is just the brain part of it. And for people who are not aware, LLM is a large language model, which basically what OpenAI has built or Google has built through Gemini, Anthropic has built that through Claude. So those are LLMs, right? Okay. Now the next thing as a part of the AI agent is the tools. Now you want agent not just to think, but you also want it to act, right? For that action, you need to give it some tools. Now, I have a brain and I feel that, hey, I should, you know, I need to, probably bake a cake. Now, for that, I need tools. I need spatula. I need a bowl. I need, ingredients. I need an oven. I need all those things. I need parchment paper. I need a mold. Those are tools. Otherwise, if I don't have the tools, I can just imagine making a cake and I could know the entire process, but I can't really make a cake. The tools help me give that output. The output is a cake. So, tools allow agents to number one, see the world. I could give a tool to my AI agent which allows it to search to find out the search results of a particular keyword on Google search, and it will be able to find out what those results are. I could ask it to fetch information, probably from something like Wikipedia. It can go and bring in information from Wikipedia from me. And tools also allow me to perform actions. I could give it access to my Google Calendar, and I could say that whenever a very important lead comes to me, the agent should check both my calendar, Google Calendar, and the clients or the customer's Google Calendar and find a mutual spot which is empty and block the time. That is an action where it automatically does that without needing a human to do that. So I've spoken about these tools. It could be search engines, APIs. APIs means you can connect it to tools like Mailchimp, Brevo. You can connect it to HubSpot, Zoho, Freshworks, any of those tools. I can connect it to databases, right? Databases like Superbase. Those things I can connect it to. I can connect it to email. I can give access to my Gmail. It can read my emails and reply to them. It can do all of that. I can give access to documents, Google Sheets, Google Docs, or any other form of documents. And even something like Notion. If you use Notion as your second brain, you can connect it to this and it can, figure stuff out. And then comes the memory. Memory. Now, you don't want the agent to go through a process and then forget about it. What if you need to remember the agent to remember what happened before this? This is where memory comes in, right? Now, if you don't have the memory, the agent will keep behaving the same way. But if there is memory involved, an agent remembers that, you know what, last time when the lead came, this is what happened. So it takes learnings from what happened in the past and then in the future acts differently. And this is in really complex cases, memory becomes quite important, right? Especially if you are building use cases. And again, we're not doing any of that today, but let's say you're building an agent which talks to a customer as a support person and decides whether a refund needs to be processed or not, right? And let's say last time there was a certain scenario where the customer wanted a refund. So the agent brought a human into the loop, and the human decided that, you know what, this doesn't fall under the refund policies, the refund can't be done. Agent would have otherwise, sort of given the refund, but now the human in loop decided that this refund, it doesn't fall under the policies. In this scenario, if the agent remembers the past cases, the next time a similar case comes, and if it has the memory context, basically enough memory to remember that conversation, it will take decision according to that. So memory gives agents the continuity, or it can also do one more thing. Let's say a user has spoken to you about a particular product, and it has let's say on the chatbot, the user has said, I like this, I like gardening, I do this, do that. Next time when they come back, and they didn't end up purchasing last time, but when they come next time, this time the agent could remember the prior conversation and use that to further give suggestions. That can also be that can be done. You can remember past outputs, avoid repeating ideas. You can also track patterns. You can also improve relevance. Now, a lot of people, when they start learning about AI agents and start building them, they don't realize and they don't expect that agents can make mistakes, right? At the end, agent is still a machine. It's not perfect, but it is an iterative process where we keep improving the agent over time, and for that, memory becomes important. Today, when we do a use case, memory is not going to play a lot of role there. But I'll give you some ideas how you can also deploy memory as a part of it. The next one is the action. The next thing, the action is what the agent does using the tools that it has, right? So an agent can send emails, save a document, update a workspace, trigger another workflow. You can also connect one agent to another agent. So one agent's output becomes the trigger for another agent. So all those complex workflows are also possible, right? And this is the context about agents. This is the anatomy of an agent. We've only spoken about this contextually. Now we are going to get into the live build. Are you with me till here? Are you with me? Are you good? Are you crystal clear till here? If you have any questions, you can also ask me those. I can see crystal clear. CC, Manash, Paritosh, Sambit, Sushant, Toshita, Nachiket. But people who are very new to the concept of agents. I know that a lot of this could be a little bit hard to visualize without seeing a real build or a use case. That's what we are going to do next. Shohrat, what about Sarvana? What about Kunal? Um, what about Mario, Bharat, Srinivas, Sanjeev, and a lot of people? I can't go through all the names, but I hope. Are you with me? Anam, I can see, is here. Tina is here. Dhruv, Rohan is here. I'm recognizing a lot of names. You guys didn't say hi to me. So many people didn't say hi to me. Pratik has raised the hand. Pratik, you can ask your question. Oh, Pratik, that was a hi. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, Prashant, Rishabh, Sarvana. There could be hundreds of people in the room, and I can still, you know, see who's who. Hi, Rohan. Hi, Anam. Hi, Shorat. Sunilji says, always with you. I'm so glad. Rohan says, you were taking the session. That's why. Tina says, I logged in late. That's okay. That's okay. We've not, good news is we've not started building. Now we are going to start building. So don't worry about it. Mario says, sorry, I was at the airport. Um, awesome. Mario, I hope, are you in India or are you? traveling as always, because I know you travel a lot. I remember. See, I remember everyone, even from 1 year, 2 years back. All right, we have a lot of international folks also here, so I'm glad you were able to take time. Mario is in Ghana, actually. Okay, amazing. Thank you for still making it to this session. A quick note, if you are enjoying so far and are excited about learning deeper and more advanced AI use cases for marketing, check out our advanced AI marketing program where you will learn 30 plus AI tools, leverage AI for marketing research, analysis, social media, and a lot more, even performance marketing. You will also learn building AI automations and complex agents and a lot more directly from top AI experts. I've left the link of the course below in the description. Check that out. Let's go. Let's go to the next step now. Today's agent build is where we're going to create sort of an idea hunter. Let's say you are someone who has to you're sort of involved in content creation. It could be as a digital marketer, a content writer, a founder, a product marketer, or anybody, right? And you want to keep sort of the trends coming to you instead of you having to go to the trends. Um, that's what we are going to build today, sort of an automated system which does the idea hunting for you on a daily basis and keeps sharing that stuff with you within your email. And I'll show you what that's going to look like. Namita says, I just needed a refresher for this, so joined in. I'm happy, Namita. Says, always a pleasure to learn from you. Always a pleasure to have you here. Anam says, I'm traveling right now and internet is a bit slow. That's okay, Anam. So I know um, a lot of you are also traveling because of the new year and stuff. But thank you for being here. Okay. Akani says I need to listen to the recordings. Don't worry, we'll figure something out. What makes an oh, sorry. This is what we are going to do. Sorry. For this, we need to work with a couple of things, right? One of the things we need is an AI agent builder. I hope you can see the whiteboard. We need sort of an AI agent builder. Builder. I know most of the people here are um, from non-tech backgrounds and you non-coding backgrounds. So while there are a lot of AI agent builders available, which allow you to code stuff and build really complex systems, there are things like LangGraph, LangFlow, and a lot of other things. But we would like to stick to something that is no code. No code. So we don't need to write code. Uh, that's something we want to stick to. Also, we need to have an LLM in place. We need to have an LLM which will act as a brain of the agent that we create. Now, for the AI agent builder, we're going to use a tool called N8N. N8N. And for the LLM, while you're free to use any sort of a LLM, I'm going to use OpenAI. OpenAI, the company that has created ChatGPT, right? And the thing is, you don't need the when I say the you need OpenAI, it doesn't mean you need to have a ChatGPT subscription. That's a consumer facing product that OpenAI has built. We need an OpenAI API, an API which allows us to connect with the real LLM that OpenAI has created, and we can use that as a part of it. Like I said, as of today, you don't, even if you want to try this out and you want to build an agent, you don't need to pay anything, right? Um, but if you're serious and you figure out there's value, you can eventually decide to, invest in this. But as of today, you don't. I'm going to show you and probably speak about free methods with you. For this, let me first show you um, something else. So Shan says, any specific reason behind selecting OpenAI instead of other players? Now, different models are good for different things. OpenAI One of the reasons is we use it for other automations also, and we started using that early, and so we've been using OpenAI quite a bit. Um so there's no real reason. There are better models. Let's say if you want to write code, obviously Claude is a much better model for that. But for the sort of general processes that we have, the general outputs that we require, OpenAI does the job. Another advantage with OpenAI is um, it also has a plethora of models available, where some models can offer deep research to you. Some models are great for content generation. So as a part of your agents, you can use any model that fits the use case that you're building. So that's about it, right? But again, like I've said, you feel free to use any model that suits you. Um, or OpenAI is good. Let me open an incognito window and let's open N8N. N8N. So N8N is one of the most popular AI agent builders out there. It can also build automations, but it's also a wonderful AI agent builder. Most of the screenshots that you see people posting on LinkedIn, those are from N8N. However, there are some other tools which sort of offer you AI agents. One of those tools is called Make.com. This used to be called Integromat in the past, but Make is something that also has introduced AI agents. Um, but again, not a lot of people use it. Also, Make can get extremely expensive. Really, the pricing gets very steep when you scale up. So, you can feel free to open the pricing pages and you can go through this. You will not see a lot of prices here, but the moment you start scaling up, the prices will, sometimes rise exponentially. There's another tool which is the market leader when it comes to automations, which is Zapier, right? Again, they have sort of added AI agents as a part of this, but the serious agent builders aren't really using this as of today. Most people use N8N. So N8N also has two sort of plans. One plan is called the cloud plan. So if you look at it monthly, uh, the plan is 24 euros. This allows you to execute 2,500 workflow executions. I'll speak about it what that is, but this is the credit or the quota that you get. You have other options also if you want to scale, and this also gets sort of steep eventually. But N8N also has a different plan where um, you can host N8N for free. It's slightly more technical. You can find out about it um, on YouTube. You can set it up, but it's slightly more tedious to use, slightly more technical to use. That plan allows you to use N8N for free by, there is an app involved called Docker. Using that, you can basically create an instance or, a mirror of N8N on your own computers, and you can start using it. This is called the self-hosted version. So if you want, you can search on YouTube, and what you have to search is how to host N8N self-hosted or N8N self-hosting tutorial. Just search for it, you'll get those tutorials. So it makes it free for you to use, right? And that's the community edition. But we are using the paid plan. Now, when you enter N8N, and let's go back 1 minute, let me save this. Now, when you go back within N8N, you see all the workflows that are created. Each of these is a different automation or an agent or a workflow, right? Each of these. And you can see all those workflows here, right? And you can see all these workflows here. Uh, Now we have a couple of N8N plans. One is for demonstration purposes. There's also another plan that we use, which is for a lot of internal stuff. I'm using the plan which is for demonstration purposes because, uh, especially in our AI, advanced AI marketing course, Some of you are aware of the 4-week AI marketing course. That is where we, get into very advanced agents also. So we use that there. Okay. Now, this is what N8N looks like, and this is the paid plan, also called the cloud plan. To create a new agent, actually, let me show you what sort of an agent we are creating today. So let me open that so you have an idea. This is a sample agent that you can create, or we are going to create today, right? So you see there is a trigger which starts the automation, and then there is an agent in place, and all of that happens. Uh, we'll look at the steps in a. Let me actually give you the steps also, how this is particular agent is going to function. Now this will start with the trigger. The trigger will be a schedule. I would probably tell the agent that you need to do this every day, daily at 9 a.m. Right? I need a briefing every day 9 a.m. Now, the trigger will then lead to the agent. The agent's job will be to search trending trending news about a particular industry. Let's say for me it will be AI or marketing, or both AI and so Gen AI and marketing, right? Then also search Wikipedia and give me a trivia about a particular marketing campaign for a global brand. So I can also get some campaign ideas from there. Then use the tools available to it. So one of the tools available would be a search tool, which allows it to search on Google. We don't have directly access to Google here. So we have to use a tool to search on Google, and probably Wikipedia is also a tool. Now, after that, uh, using this, create using all this information that it has, or and maybe create this in a newsletter form, email newsletter form. Write a newsletter where you are giving me all these topics that the trending news in my category. Good, good. After that, this newsletter, I need to sort of design it. So when I receive the newsletter, it is not just basic text. I need it well designed, right? So I want it to be well designed. Again, we will use OpenAI here. And you can share this not just with you. Maybe you are building this for your CEO, or a stakeholder who needs this information, and you had to do it manually to keep them updated on what's new happening in this space. This allows you to completely automate that. I use this as a founder because I need to know what's happening in this space, right? And then this should send an email using Gmail to me. So I received this newsletter using Gmail. This is the agent we are going to build. This is an idea hunter. When you do this, it doesn't matter what industry you want. It will be able to do that for any industry that you want. Good, nice. Is that something you feel will be really useful? Let me know. I want to see. A lot of people, including me, we need a lot of information on on a regular basis, right? Because especially for someone like me, information is power. Information is what keeps me ahead. So if you're a content writer, you need ideas on a daily basis. If you're a founder, you need to know what's happening in the industry. Everybody knows that, right? Sushant says, is it possible to predict the stock market movement using these agents? Will it be? You can. In fact, you don't always need an agent to do something like that. But yes, that is available. That is, you can do that. But again, take it with a pinch of salt. Sarvana says, can we create this one checking out our competitors? For example, if my competitor publish a new page, can I get a trigger? There are methods of doing that. We're not doing that today, but if you have you can scrape sitemaps of your competitors and you can find that out, or you can just set up a search query where with your domain, with the competitor's domain, you can find out. Those things are available. um, Paritosh says, can the final step be different media other than Gmail? Like some, oh yeah, you can connect any tool. You can, instead of creating a Gmail, you could create a LinkedIn post. I'm going to give you a use case and you're free to customize it. And when we start building it, you'll realize that it's not that difficult to customize what you want out of it. I'm going to get a newsletter created because I'm creating a scheduled briefing on a daily basis. You can turn that into a LinkedIn post. You can turn that into an Instagram Reels or a TikTok script. All of that is up to you, right? The idea is to understand how to build this entire thing, um, and then you customize it. Namita says, can we connect Brevo? 100%. 100% you can connect Brevo, uh, um, MailChimp, Drip, any of those, Send in Blue is Brevo actually. Any of those, Get Response, any tool you want. Even if those tools do not natively connect to this, you still have the option of using something called webhooks, which allows you to connect any app. Okay, ready to build the agent? Should we start? I want to hear from everyone. Should we start? I want to see if you are there with me. A lot of people.
Yes.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you, Sharath. Amazing. Now I'm seeing so many yeses. Thank you. Thank you. The reason this is a live session, we are doing this probably will become a YouTube video or something later on, or a recorded masterclass later on. But the reason why this is live is because the fun is where you can ask me questions. I can answer questions. Maybe I know the answer. Maybe I don't know the answer. If I don't know, it'll give me the opportunity to learn more about it. If I know this, I will love to give the answer to you, right? All right, let's create a workflow. I clicked on a button which says create a workflow. This opens N8N that looks like this. Now, when you are new to this looks a little overwhelming, scary, looks very tech, right? But don't worry, it's not that difficult. If you come from automation background, you anyways understand the learning curve is quite not very steep. But even if you're new to this, I'll explain everything to you. Now, whatever you're seeing here, this dotted screen, sub screen here, this is your canvas. Basically, this is where you create the workflow. A workflow is a series of tasks that need to be done. And there are two ways now to do this. One is by doing it manually. You can also import a pre-made workflow by somebody else, and you can import that here. It's quite easy. But again, we are learning here to build how to build it ourselves. Also, they've added AI credits to this. That means you can just ask AI, what do you want, explain the entire thing, and we'll create it for you. But let's try doing it ourselves, right? Now, the first step is the trigger. So let's add a trigger. When you click on this plus button to add the first step, this will give you an option to select how do you want this automation to start. What is the trigger? Do you want to trigger it manually? Basically, you can come on N8N every day whenever you want and click on it so that the automation starts. That's one way of doing that, but not really efficient. Or on an app event, let's say you have connected this with Telegram or Notion or Airtable, you can do that, right? You can uh, create an agent and connect it with Telegram. And on Telegram, you just say, give me the report, the ad dashboard report for yesterday, and it will then start the agent workflow, find out the report and send the answer to you back on Telegram. So it's like chatting with your personal Jarvis. So that can be done, and you can do connect it with other apps, or you can, you know, start this workflow on a schedule. This means you can decide whether this should happen every day, every month, every week, and at what time. So you can do all of that. And there are some more ways of starting the automation also, through a webhook call, through a form submission. Let's say somebody submits a form, and the form can be created within N8N itself. But we're not looking for that. Another way is a chat message. So a user can write a chat message and the automation begins from there. Let's say I want to uh, write use on a chat message. The moment, let me zoom out and show this to you again in case you missed. Let me zoom out. Once again, at the first step, I want to start this on a chat message. Now you will see a screen with a lot of stuff. Forget about it. No need to do anything. Just click on this cross button and close this. This adds your first trigger right here, right? This adds your trigger right here. Whenever a chat message is received, whenever a chat message is received, the automation will begin. Okay. Okay. Now, one step done. One step done. The trigger step, we'll eventually change it. We are not using chat as a thing, but the next step is adding the AI agent, right? The next step is the agent. Let's use that. Click on this plus button. I hope you can see it. Let me zoom in a bit. Plus button. Now, what do you want to do? This is where you get a lot of options. You bring in AI capabilities into this. You can do something on a Google Sheet and more of that. You can just start searching here, right? For example, I want an AI agent, and you will get the options under it. Somebody had asked, can we do this for MailChimp, for example? MailChimp is there. You can do something within MailChimp. Or let me see if Brevo is there. Brevo is also there. HubSpot is also there. So all that is there. I want an AI agent. AI agent. And again, zooming out. Now, when you click select the next step, in our case, the next step is agent. The agent requires some instructions from our end, right? Now, the agent will need to act based on the information that is coming from the previous step. If it is a user who's chatting, we will take whatever the user has written and we will use that as a part of this step. So you can see the source for this AI agent to further do something. That source is the connected chat trigger node. Oh yes, we did connect a chat trigger node here, right? But let's stop all of this. And within this agent, you will see there are three things that you can do. You have first got the chat model, which is the brain. You've got memory. You've got a tool, and not a tool, you have multiple tools, right? So let's start with the chat model. Like I said, we're going to use OpenAI for this. So let's click on the plus button and you can see that you've got the option for all the chat models out there. You've got Anthropic, which is Claude. You've got DeepSeek, Gemini, you've got Grok, you've got Mistral. All these are there. Where is my OpenAI? Where is my OpenAI? Let me search. OpenAI chat model. So I select OpenAI and this is where it will ask you to connect your OpenAI account. Let me talk about that a bit. However, this will also give you 100 free credits from OpenAI. Basically, you can use 100 tokens to test things out, and that's something you can do. I already have connected my account. However, if you haven't and you're new to this, just click on create new credential. And this is where you need to enter something called the API key. It's like a password that OpenAI gives you for your account. So when you take that password from OpenAI and you put it here, it connects N8N and OpenAI together, right? That's what the API key does. Okay. You can give an organization ID and all of that. How do you get that password from OpenAI? You go to something called playground.openai.com. Playground.openai.com. Oh, let me open AI playground. Sorry, I'm playground is a part of that, but what you have to search for is platform.openai.com, right? Platform.openai.com. Now, this is not the same thing as your chat GPT subscription. This is different, right? So you can, if you already have an OpenAI account and you're using chat GPT using it, you can just log in from the same account and uh, you can start using this. However, if not, you can sign up from here and make an account. You can also see the pricing here. The pricing tells you how much each model costs to use because you're going to be OpenAI has multiple models under it. They've got GPT 5.2, 5.1, and so on. Uh, these models will eventually become 6, 7, and so on. Uh, these are the older models like the 4.0, and you can see the pricing for each of these. Some of those models are cheaper. Some of those models are, uh, you know, more expensive. You can see that GPT 5.2 Pro costs $21 for input, and more input means what you are inputting, and the output separately costs money. So it can cost a lot of money, or you can choose the cheaper models, right? Like 4.0 mini or 4.1 nano. So you can choose different models. You also have some audio models. You have image generation models. You can select the right models by coming here. Do you want text tokens, image tokens? So based on that, you can see the pricing. Now, for our use case, we want a general model, a simpler model. So we can actually use uh, 4.0 mini as a model, right? This is good enough. Anything else? No, this is fine for me. 4.0 mini, even 4.0 is okay, which is for Omni. These models sound good to me. Now, what I will do is once you log in, you're going to see a screen that looks like this, right? A screen that sort of looks like this. You have to go to first billing. If you're taking a paid plan, you have to go to the billing section and you can put in some money here. You can use a credit card to put in money. You can add your payment methods like a credit card or something, and you can do that here. If you're doing just testing things out, you will get 100 credits here to use OpenAI, and that is good enough for testing. Now, after you've done that, what you have to do is come to the API keys part of it, create a new secret key, give it a name like N8N integration. uh, you can select a project which is sort of uh, like a folder. You can select that, give it all permissions, and create a secret key. When you click here, remember it's a secret key. That means I'm showing it to you, but you ideally don't have to show it to anyone. It's like a password. People can misuse it. People can get backdoor entries into your stuff. You don't want that. You can just copy this from here, the secret key, come back to N8N where we were making the connection and just add this, right? Also, preferably save this. You only get to see this key once. So preferably also save it somewhere, right? Like in a some sort of a document which you keep secret. So save it there. So if in case you ever need it again. So once you've done this, just click on save and your connection between N8N and OpenAI gets created. And then you can start using OpenAI as a part of your workflows. Good, simple process. It's really simple. You have to come to platform.openai.com like this, sign up. Within that, come to, let me click on done. Come to API keys, create a new secret key, copy that key, and come and paste it here. That is it. And once you've done that, let me close this. Once you've done that, that account will show up here. Your OpenAI account will show up here. Then you just have to select it. Select the model you want. Which model did we think to use? It was 4.0. I think Do you remember the model that we selected? 4.1 mini also we can use, 4O mini can also be used. Let's use 4O mini or just 4.1 mini. That's fine for me. Let's select that. Let's select it. Good. Now, for this particular agent, this particular step, this agent will be used. And if your workflow has multiple agents involved, you could decide which step uses which type of a model, right? Depending on what output do you want. We want a general output. A simple text needs to be generated that needs to be sent to me. Okay, now nothing else required. Just exit out. And you can just pull this here and you can see the OpenAI chat model has been added to the agent. This is the brain. The brain has been added. Manash has asked, do we have to pay OpenAI every time the agent performs the task? Yes, but you're not paying that 0.40. That is the cost for a certain number of tokens. You pay, you know, minuscule amount of money for each task, depending on the model. So here, the prices that are shown to you, these are for 1 million tokens. So input, output, your whatever you are inputting or outputting, it gets tokenized. It gets split into multiple tokens. So 1 million tokens, it's not a lot. So $0.40 for 1 million tokens. That's not bad, isn't it? So you don't have to worry too much. In OpenAI, you can even just fill up $4, $5 and to test out stuff. And that will take you a long way. Okay, Manish, clear? Okay. Now, the next one is memory. We need to give memory to this. And again, there are paid sort of memories you can get if you have complex use cases. In our case, we'll use a free memory, which is called simple memory. And this is provided by N8N itself. So N8N only remembers the previous conversations. In our case, it is okay. But for more elaborate use cases, you might want to go with paid memory plans. You've got Postgres, you've got MongoDB. All these are like databases which can save a lot of conversations uh, at a scale. For us, let's use simple memory. Nothing to be done. Actually, I'll show you an error that just happens, right? I'll show you an error. There is context window length. How many past conversations do you want it to remember? By default, it is 5 because this memory is going to be limited. You can reduce it or increase it, but 5 is okay for me. And I will just cross it out. Now, you can see the memory is also added. However, let's test this out. So we have two steps. When a user sends a chat message, the chat model should respond, right? So on the bottom, you will be able to see the chat box, which will trigger this step. So let's just write hi. When I say hi, you see this is working. Look at this. I said hi and OpenAI worked. When I click on OpenAI here, you will see that the input, this side, on the left side is whatever input is coming into this. On the right side, this part shows you whatever output came after processing. So the input was where a human said hi. Human was me. And the output shows me what did this OpenAI respond back to me. Hello, how can I assist you today? Very nice. Very nice. So that means the chat worked and the chat model also worked. Two things worked. This now remembers two things. One was the human message, one was the chat GPT message. Both things have been remembered. Sushant has a question. Sushant, please, you want to unmute and ask? Go ahead. Sushant says it's a silly question. I don't think it is a silly question. All
Hi,
questions.
Puneet.
Yes.
It's a very silly question actually. So let's suppose in this case we decided that it's a very simple operation. A user will
Yeah.
send a chat message and then the agent will reply. So
Yeah.
that's why we picked the 4O mini model. Now
Yeah.
let's suppose there is another use case in which we are predicting the nature of let's say it's next year will be the T20 World Cup year. So we are
Okay.
trying to predict that okay, India in the past T20 World Cups has played these many matches, and based on the opponent and their strength, this
Mm.
can be a predicted nature of the next match that India is gonna
Mm.
play.
Mm.
So we obviously would require a huge model, let's say 5.1 or 5.2 for that. So is there any specific guidelines as to for what kind of for what nature of query do we need to
Yes.
use what kind of model?
Yes. So you basically need to use a reasoning model here, right? Because you want deeper reasoning to happen. So you generally the reasoning models, uh, you chat GPT, the GPT-5 is a good reasoning model, and within that also the larger model is GPT-5, which you can see is slower and more expensive, but often generates better responses for complex tasks in broad domains. However, they also have smaller, faster models like GPT-5 Mini and GPT-5 Nano, which are less expensive, but again, they are not, you know, as good at generating complex, executing complex tasks as GPT-5. So, what you're looking for here, whether you're using OpenAI or Gemini or anything else, you're looking for a reasoning model, right? So if you look at it from here, GPT-5 Mini and GPT-5 Nano, you can come here and you will see both of these models here. And you also have the GPT-5, which is 1.25 dollars for 1 million tokens, which again is fine, right? So this is how you can do that.
Right, so there's basically no specific guideline. We obviously need to, we would require to search as like on a case-to-case basis with respect to, our query and what kind of
Yeah.
model we.
Now,
Okay.
sometimes what Sushant we also do is we try a certain model and then we change the model and try it with that, and then we do an apple to apple comparison that in our scenario which model gave us a better response, right? So the idea is at scale you want the the quality of the outcome versus the cost involved. You want that to maintain a ratio also. So you don't want to use a very expensive model for something like what generating an email, right? Or writing content. That can be taken care by very cheaper general models also. But the use case that you spoke about, or for example, somebody is doing, you input some stock data, or you're doing company research and then making predictions, those might require deeper reasoning. For those you will have to try a couple of models, and you can just click here and you can change the model and try some other model if you want to see that, right?
Got it. Got
Yeah.
it.
Okay. Now we've done the chat model, we've also added the simple memory. Um, what we will now do is we want to add tools, right? Now what tools do we want? Number one, I want N8N, and basically my agent, to be able to search on Google. And for that, there is a very interesting tool called SERP AI, right? SERP AI. Now, what it does is it's basically a Google search API. It allows you to access the results of a Google search without a human having to do that, right? So, what you can do is you can put in your search query here and you define the location of which location are you looking these uh, results for, and you can test it out. For example, let's search for um, marketing analytics, and you can search. For example, let's say I'll choose India as a location and I'll just test this out. The reason location is also important is because your search results change based on the geography where you're searching from. Now, when we do this, you can see that these are the results you are getting uh, from this from Google. And here on the right side is sort of a JSON structure, basically a coded structure of how this entire thing looks like. So this is pretty cool. This allows us to search. Now, We can use SERP AI as a tool in our agent, and there is a native integration possible. I'll just show you. But let's look at the pricing. Now, you will see that the reason I'm showing you this is because there is a free plan involved. The free plan, and you don't have to enter your credit card or anything to sign up. You can just click on get started, make an account, and you will get 250 searches per month, which are good enough for a lot of folks, right? And for the use cases, if this is a daily based thing we are doing, we only need 30 searches, 31 searches in a month. Good enough, isn't it? So we can use the free plan. Uh, 50 throughout throughput per hour, successful searches, 50 guaranteed successful searches in an hour you can get. We're not looking at multiple searches in an hour. However, the pricing, if you ever feel you want to upgrade, is this. But for us, this is fine, right? So just make an account. Once you make an account, you will see something like this. Again, you have to come to your API key. It is again confidential. You can just copy it from here. You get an API key pre-made. Copy it from here, and you'll have to use it um, when you use SERP AI. How do we use SERP AI? By clicking on the plus button. Now, search for the tool. Let me search for. By the way, you can find Gmail also. You can find Google Sheets also. So if you want to do stuff using Google Sheets, I want SERP AI. SERP API, right? SERP API. Now, I've already made an account, but again, if you have not made it, click on create new credential. Just paste that API key from there. Now, I hope you understand API is sort of an interface that allows you to use a different tool, third party tool, using sort of a password, right? And that's what we are doing. It's pretty good. Um, I don't need to do this because I already have an account created. So we're just going to use this. I've already selected that. Good to go. And here we are. Can we add multiple tools? Yes, let me show you. So one tool we've added is SERP API. Okay, I keep calling it SERP AI, but my bad, it is SERP API. SERP API. Now, the next, I also want to give this agent access to another tool. And this will answer the question also Debraj has. I want to give access to Wikipedia. Maybe I need some information, you know, vetted information from Wikipedia. So I'll again click on plus button. Let me search for Wikipedia. Wikipedia. And you don't need to do any settings here. Just click close this. Look at that. And by the way, you can add as many tools as you want. You can add more tools. You want to give it access to a particular Google Doc or a particular Google Sheet where, let's say, uh, responses to certain frequently asked questions is already given. And you want the agent to be able to refer to previous frequently asked questions when it is creating a new answer that can be done. So far, so good. We have done a couple of things. Uh, However, I would like to make some changes now. I don't want this automation to start with a chat message. I would like to start this on schedule. On schedule means I will give it a time. So again, sorry, I deleted it without showing it to you. Just click here and click on the trash can icon to delete this step. Now that entire node has been deleted. There is no trigger now. You need a trigger to start a workflow. So I will just right click. If you're on Mac, double click and let me see. Oh, sorry. We will just open a note from here, the plus button on the right side. I think you can also do this. Anyways, forget it. Plus button. And I want this to happen on a schedule. On a schedule means you can now define when. What is the interval between every two times this runs? Is it an interval of days, hours, minutes, seconds, weeks, months? or a custom cron, right? Maybe let's say you are running a, a workflow that 45 days after or 60 days after a user purchases a coffee bottle from you. Let's say it's a 100 gram, 200 gram coffee. 30 days after that, this should run, send them a WhatsApp message that, hey, you must be running low on coffee, buy coffee again. So you can create those crons like those. I am doing a day, 1 day interval. So I'll select days. How many days? 1 day interval. And when should it trigger? I want it to trigger at a certain time. I want this email to come to me at 9 a.m. every day. 9 a.m. I should see this first thing in the morning. And anything else? 9:30. You could do that. 9:30. I don't want that. 9 a.m. is fine. And just do this, right? Now trigger is here. I will just drag it all the way here. And this is yet not connected. So I will have to take this and connect it here. Just drag that and connect it here. Now the trigger is ready. This is the schedule trigger. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to give the AI agent the instructions of what we want from it. So click on this. An agent is basically using AI to give us a response back. Earlier, it was just taking the chat input. I said hi. It used ChatGPT to generate an answer, which was, hello, how can I assist you today? And it gave me that answer. I don't want that. I don't want that. I want this. Instead of using the first node, I want to use a prompt. I will give it a prompt on what it needs to do, right? This particular prompt will decide how your agent acts. Now, I've already written this prompt. I'll show this to you. The prompt is every morning, pull 5 trending news stories from last 1 week using SERP API. Now, when you're giving it a task, I'm asking it to pull 5 trending news stories from last 1 week using SERP AI. Give it the tool also. Name the tool that you want it to use. Related to, let's say, generative AI and marketing. Also, find a relevant trivia from Wikipedia related to marketing campaigns done by popular brands, right? So find me some nice campaign idea using Wikipedia, because Wikipedia has a lot of those campaigns. Now you can change this to anything you want. Let's say you are a stock trader and you're interested in a particular category. You could say, um, give me information about steel. Uh, maybe you're dealing in commodities, so silver, gold. Give me news related to that. All of that is possible. Also, you can define a country here. So pull 5 trending news stories from last 1 week in India. Let's say India, or I would say, if you don't want to restrict it to a country, keep it as is. Now, another thing I'm telling it is, don't repeat any news stories and trivia from previous days. Format this, the response that you get, in form of an email newsletter in markdown format. Now, markdown format is basically a format. I think you guys have seen that, where instead of making something bold, italic, what it does is, so if I want to make something bold, instead of that, it just writes it like this. So, like this. If you've seen WhatsApp, it uses the markdown format, but it changes it into bold, italics, and stuff. This is called a markdown format, where there are symbols for each thing representation. So that is it. Um, I'm saying do that in a markdown format that can later be converted to HTML. I would later want to sort of make it beautiful, nice looking. And then I want to give it today's date. This will be dynamic, right? I'll give it today's date. So what I'm going to do is, let's come back. and I will paste the prompt here. I will paste the prompt right here. The only thing that is missing is today's date. Now, this date has to be dynamic because each day the prompt should change. The rest of the prompt will be the same, right? Every morning, pull this. I just want to change the date so it knows what do I mean by from last 1 week, because it should be according to today's date or whichever date this workflow is running. I need that date. And ideally, that should have come from the previous step. But since we just created a new previous step, let's go and execute this step. Execute this, right? There is an error. We'll speak about it in a bit. But this just ran, right? The tick mark means this just happened. It took place. Okay. Namita is asking, are you adding the prompt in the agent or the trigger? I'm adding that in the agent. Trigger is just a time, right? Trigger, I'll show you again. It is just when I want to schedule this workflow to run. So I've given it a time that every 1 day, after every 1 day, it should run at 9 a.m. That is the trigger. The prompt was added in the agent. I'm clicking again in case you did missed this. Agent, I'm double clicking it. Here, I said this agent should use this particular prompt. Okay. Now the only thing is the date that is required. Now, since the input here on the left side, this shows me all the steps that have happened before and what output did they give. The first step that happened, that took place, was the trigger step. And the trigger step, it created an output for today, right? This is happening on December 30th, 2025 at 9:10. This is taking my system time, right? 9:10 p.m. 9 o'clock, 10 p.m., 34 seconds. This is what I'm doing. And this is, I think, the UTC timestamp. So we'll just take this. I want the prompt to use this particular timestamp. How do I do that? Easy. Just drag this and put it here. Now, what it did was, if you missed it, I just took that timestamp. Now, this is looking like a rectangular block of a different color because this means that this is a dynamic value. It is a placeholder. Every time the workflow runs on 9 at 9 a.m. every day, this will change. This date will change. Today it is 30/12/2025. Tomorrow it will be 31st/12/2025. Then it will be 1/1/2026. That is how it will work, right? So I just took it from here and put it there within there. And this is how you can take information from previous steps and feed them into the next step. You're good till here? And let's try executing this also, right? So now we'll execute this. Before that, there is an error that is showing up for simple memory. Now, what is this error? When I click there, it says, I expected to find session ID. There's something called a session ID. Uh, Now, I don't want you to get into this. I want you to just ignore this. And how do we ignore this? Click on, for session ID, click on define below and just give it any name, right? I'll give it uh, test workshop AI agents. Let's give it anything, any name. And that is it, right? Now, let's try executing the step once more. Sushant is asking that, hey, why did we not use the readable date here? Um, no reason. No reason. You can also use the readable date. The reason I used the timestamp uh, was that, it is a UTC time, right? UTC means it doesn't depend on my geography or system. In some scenarios, you might want to use a UTC time, which is universal, instead of a certain geography's time, right? So that's the only reason. However, you can still use the readable date from here. That's it. Okay, now let's execute this step and see if this works. I click on execute step. Ideally, the prompt, uh, let's see if this is working. You see that this is taking place. This is working. And all right, so it was successful. Let's see if we got an output out of it. Oh, look at that. Look at that. The output says from this prompt, here's the email newsletter in Markdown format for today's date. Um, do we have some? And we've got the data. It's not humanly readable, but we've got the information. So here's the first update. AI-driven personalization revolutionizes customer segment. Companies are increasingly deploying generative AI to generate hyper-personalized content. The next one says generative AI transforms content creation for brand campaigns. Then the next one, ethical concerns grow over AI marketing. These are probably trending news from the last 1 week. Then AI chatbots with generative capabilities enhance stuff like that. Um, there is also the trivia that we asked for. Uh, there is some trivia, and there is an AT&T campaign, which is some of you might know about this. AT&T had created the first clickable banner ad ever, and they had put it on a website called hotwired.com. So, that was the first banner ad ever created. So it has found that. This is pretty cool. What do you think? So it's found. Now, this is not obviously human readable, so we'll make it into a human readable thing. But what do you think? It used the tick mark on each of these things shows that it used the chat model, it used the simple memory, it used Wikipedia, it used SERP API. You see the tick marks? What do you think? Pretty cool. Now, this will happen every day um, at 9 a.m. But we are not done yet. I want to send this as an email to me. Where was the output? The output is here when you click on agent. On the left side, you see the input. On the right side, you see the output like this. Cool? Awesome. Awesome. Let's do something about it now. I want this. Um, are you guys are you guys enjoying this? Are you guys enjoying this? Not overwhelmed or bored? I hope you're enjoying this. All right. All right. Good. Awesome. Now, let's go to the next step. Let's go to the next step. And here, let's add the plus button. Uh, Hari Prasad is asking in the AI agent, you had added a keyword marketing trends like something. Yes, I did. Right. So I didn't say marketing trends. I said trending news stories. So I asked it to find the news stories. However, you can find trends also. Uh, but news stories are more updated, right? I want those to get delivered to me as a briefing every day. So which is why that. Okay. Now the next step. Next step. I want to send an email using Gmail. Now, when you click on Gmail, it will show you what stuff you can do using Gmail. I would like to send send an email, send a message, right? Send a message. That's what I would like to do. Uh, Now, again, if you are doing this for the first time, you will have to create a new credential. This is only possible in the paid plan of N8N. In the free plan, this process is slightly more tedious and tricky. In the free plan, obviously, they had to make it tricky so that people can take the paid plan. But if you have a paid plan or you're using the 14-day trial, N8N gives you a 14-day trial which you can start using immediately. Uh, Create a new credential, and all you have to do is sign in with your Google account. That is it. Whichever Google account you have, just sign in using that. You're good to go, right? And once you have signed in, just save it, and then it will show up like this, right? You can. use it like this. Now, the important thing is, where do you want to send this to? I want to send this to myself. I want to send it to myself. And I want, what is the subject line? I want to call this daily briefing, um, daily briefing, marketing news briefing. And I want to add the date here. I want to add the date here. And how will I add the date? From the previous inputs, I will take the date from the schedule trigger step. And this is where I can actually use the readable date because now I want to read it. So I will take that and just put it here. Oops. Okay. Now, daily marketing news briefing, and it should look like this. This is a placeholder. Can we connect it to marketing channels? Please feel free to mention the channels so I can check for you.
If you want a multiple email ID that message would be sent, how we can
Yes, like this,
okay, okay.
like how you send an email.
Yeah, okay.
All right. So that is clear. Google
Yeah.
Ads, Facebook Ads, DV360. These can all be done. Like I said, I we use Facebook Ads API to get the campaign reports from there. Then we structure them in our way, and then we send them. Yes, you can do that. All of that can be done. If that platform allows you to do that, you will be able to do that. If they have an API which allows Facebook to send the data, you can use that. Okay, now this is where we are seeing, um, let's say we are seeing a message. This is what will go into the into what? Into the email as a message. Now, what I can do is I can actually take this output from the agent step where the email newsletter was created, and I can put it right here as a part of the message. However, this wasn't looking good. I don't want to read an email that looks like this, which has uh, the line break elements and everything. I don't want this markdown version. I want this beautiful, nice looking email. So maybe let's get that done. Let's close this step. Um, let's for now delete this connection. Just the connection. I will let the Gmail step be there, but I want to delete the connection. So move it aside. Thank you for moving aside Gmail. Here, what was the problem? The problem was this markdown format is not great to read. So we will use that. Click on the plus button, and I will search for a certain node which is called markdown. So it allows you to convert markdown data into whatever is in markdown, it allows you to convert it into HTML, and HTML can make your text look beautiful. So I will just take this. Now, you see how we don't want to convert from HTML to Markdown. We want to convert it from Markdown to HTML. It can go both ways, but I want to convert it from Markdown to HTML. How do I do that? This is the Markdown from the previous step. I will put that here. So far, so good. So far, so good. And I've put it here. Now, let's just execute the step and see what the output looks like. Oh, wow. Look at this. This is what it has converted this into an HTML format. Don't worry. You might be feeling that, oh, but it still has those HTML tags. How does that help? It does help in a bit. It will help us in a bit. Now, HTML created. Let's go to a sort of a tool which can allow us to see what this HTML looks like. Online HTML parser. So there are some free online HTML parser tools. Basically, I put my HTML here and I can see what it looks like. Let's go copy this entire thing, go into this HTML parser, and this is what it is looking like, right? Much better than the markdown version we saw. There is some structure here, but not as much as I would like it to. It's not beautiful looking, right? So let's make it beautiful. Close this. Markdown step complete. Thank you, Gmail, for moving a little bit aside more. The next step now will be OpenAI. I'm going to use directly a chat model, OpenAI, and I will ask OpenAI to take the HTML, convert it into a beautiful looking email. So cool. Let's do that. How do I do that? Just message. I will send a message to the GPT and I'll ask it to give me a result. Message a model. Now again, our OpenAI account is connected. What do I want? I want text. I'm using text here, not images, not audio, nothing else. I'm using text here. Message a model. Um, Message a model. Which model do I want? Again, we can use one of those 4.0 mini models. Oh, 4.0, not 4.0. 4.0, 4.0 mini. Let's use this model. We're doing a very simple operation here. I want, number one, I want to give it a prompt. But first, I want to give it a system prompt. System prompt means before I give it my information, I want to behave in a certain way. I want GPT to behave in a certain way. For that, I will select, instead of just a user sending a message, I want to give it a system prompt where it will set the behavior of this, how this particular node acts. So system prompt, and here I will give a prompt and we'll get that prompt. From here, I've already selected this prompt. The prompt is beautify the HTML using inline CSS. CSS is a language which is used for making web pages. So that is what makes the design of web pages, right? And emails also. Beautify the HTML. Which HTML? The HTML that we have just created from Markdown using inline CSS styling for an email newsletter. Output only the result without any header elements, right? Don't write this is an HTML. Don't write anything. Just give me the email that is going to be sent to me. Make the design modern. You could write anything, right? Use purple theme, use white theme, uh, use a background color. You can define everything you want right here. Toshita says, can we not mention this is in the first prompt? Now, the question is right. Why did we not just mention that in the first prompt where we were generating the markdown? The reason is because when we use agent nodes or any of these nodes, what we have observed is when you give it 2, 3 different things to do together, there is a chance it might miss one of those things, right? And we see this quite often. So what we do is we try to restrict one node to only perform one task. So that means when one task happens, it goes to the next node. That node performs only then that particular task. Otherwise, when we are asking one single node to do too many things, right? 2, 3, 4, 5 different things, there is a chance some of those things will get missed, right? That is why we are segregating it. And Markdown is a separate, specially created node for this purpose only. And this is something you have to remember for agent nodes. Don't ask it to do 2, 3 different things. Only ask it to do one thing. You can have multiple agent nodes to do multiple things. Okay, let's put the system prompt here first, right? This is the system prompt. Beautify the HTML below. So I'll put it below using inline CSS styling. And where is that HTML? That is right here. This is the output I want. Or probably this is the output I want, right? This is the HTML. Yes. Now take that. I will add a message, and this time this will go right here. This time I'm using a user role because I'm as a user I'm giving this the next in the output from the previous case. The system prompt means that now going forward in this particular node, the GPT will behave in a certain way. That is what the idea is. Okay, now let's see if something has happened. Let's execute this step. You can execute each step to test out how it looks. Okay, it is executing the node. Okay, okay, okay. It is happening. Sometimes it takes longer, right? So done. So it has made it, right? It has made it. You can now see the CSS. Now, if you're not aware of CSS, trust me, uh, inline CSS styling has been added, right? It's given a background color, border radius. So design elements have got added to this. Very cool. Now, where are we? Where have we reached? Excuse me, Gmail, please move aside. Let me zoom out for you how this is looking till here. Schedule trigger, AI agent. This found the information I needed from the internet and Wikipedia. Then it converted it into so here only it converted it into an email, but that email was done in a markdown format. Then at the next step, we changed the markdown format into an HTML format. It was HTML, but was not beautiful looking. Then we used OpenAI to add CSS into it. CSS is the design language used by web pages, Gmail, uh, email, and all of that. And finally, it's time. It's time to connect it to Gmail, right? But we have to tell Gmail what to send us. So let's do that. Now, if you remember, we used a different message here. This time I want it from the last output. The output that came here from the last step, I want that to be added. So I will take this HTML with CSS and put it right here. Right here. How about we test this out now? Now, the entire thing is created. I hope it works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on execute workflow and see if the entire thing works. And meanwhile, let me also open the Gmail account and see if I can get that to work. Okay, this is the Gmail account. Let's go and let's execute the workflow. Now you see it N8N will highlight whatever is happening, right? It is showing you what is taking place. What is taking place. So now Wikipedia is happening. And at the bottom, you will see what all processes are happening. So we are still on the agent step, right? The good part about agents and interesting part about agents is it can do to and fro by itself also. It can do reasoning, come back, reiterate. It doesn't go from one step and then goes to the next step and never comes back. It can come both ways, right? Now you can see the message or model. This is where the CSS is getting added. And you can see what is happening at the bottom also. Bottom, it is showing you what processes are happening. And finally, it should send a message eventually, right? I hope it sends the message. Neha says it's so cool and useful. It is, isn't it? And this is just one use case. Now, the idea of this workshop was to show you all the different use cases um, that can take place, right? Once you understand how this entire thing works, now you know that, oh, if I have that goal, I just need to connect tools that that have to go through this to achieve a particular task, right? So all of that can be done. Namita says, how do we do bulk emails? You don't do that using Gmail. You need an email marketing tool, right? If you have Brevo, if you have any of those things, Now, what I can see is it's also a little stuck here. Let me stop this workflow. Execution stopped. And one second, let me just start from here and let's execute only this step. Execute and let's see if that works. Okay. Now, Manish is asking, can we connect Instagram in tools? Let's check that out. Let's see if we can add Instagram as a step. Let me see. Instagram, you can actually publish media to Instagram using Facebook Graph API. So yes, looks like you can. Sushant has a question. Go ahead, Sushant.
Puneet, like I just remembered, Namita asked about sending bulk emails. Now, there's a feature in Microsoft which goes by the name of Power Automate. So basically, it takes, we just have to feed them certain PDFs and
Yeah,
Excel on which all the information is there, and it runs
right.
an automation campaign. Now, can that be linked with this particular N8 workflow?
So run me through what it does exactly, then I'll tell you.
Okay,
What
so
exactly?
just like we have created a workflow over here, there's a similar workflow that we need to create on Microsoft Power Automate. Now, what it does is basically it's a loop which says that okay, on the first step, I will check a particular column in the Excel. I will pick the
Okay.
name, I will pick the email ID. Then in the next step, I will again pick the content of the email, which we have parsed from HTML to the normal Word file. Then
Okay.
at the third step, it will pick the attachments which is saved on Microsoft Drive, and that
Okay.
it will execute the step. Now it again runs this loop till the time it reads all the data entries present in the Excel file.
You can do that. Yes, you can do that. And in fact, you can connect your Google Sheets, you can connect your PDF documents, you can connect your entire Google Drive. So let's say you've created a folder and you have added all these PDFs related to your company's information within that drive, you can give it access to that. And agent will decide which files are needed to be accessed to achieve a particular, sort of a goal of that particular workflow. So if that's what you're asking, yes, it can be done.
Got it.
But bulk emails, now the agent doesn't do anything, right? What you can do is you can create for bulk emails, you if you have, let's say you're using Brevo or MailChimp or any of those tools. Let's say you've created an automation within Brevo. You can create automations, autoresponder sequences within your email marketing tool. If you have anybody here who's been a part of our digital marketing 12-week course, you know how that works. So you can create a list, and anybody who gets added into the list starts receiving those emails. Using this workflow, you can bring in contacts into that list, and that triggers the email. Or if you want, you can trigger it to a complete list in one go also. So that takes care of your bulk email in one go, right? But the bulk email is not handled by N8N. N8N isn't handling anything. It is using your tools and asking the tools what to do, right? N8N is an interface between various tools and your brain, right? Your LLMs. Now, by the way, are you ready to see the result of the email that has just gone out? Would you like to see it? I'm also excited to see if it worked or not. Let's go, and I can see there is a mail, daily briefing news, daily marketing news briefing, December 30th, this time. And look at that. Look at that. Generative AI and marketing insights, date, trending news stories from past week, trivia of the day, evolution of digital marketing campaigns by pop, and this is where the AT&T campaign has been completely mentioned. Imagine getting this every day. You could get such things about skincare, about SaaS, about any industry you want, right? Imagine an automated assistant whose job is to bring the latest news in your interest areas, trending stuff in your interest areas, and you don't have to go hunting ideas every day. Imagine that. How cool is that? Nia is so good, isn't it? What do you guys think? Isn't it amazing? And with this, you can actually take these ideas and create a next OpenAI step where you give a prompt for it to write a reel based on that news, right? A reel script. So you can create scripts on these reels. Further, you can connect it to tools like 11 Labs, Hagen, where it can automatically create the entire audio, video, and put it together, and you have a fully made video, right? Ready to publish, and that gets saved in a Google Drive. You just pick it up from there and post it. This is what we've done as a simple agent, right? While it does a really cool task, but it's still very simple in nature, and that's what the goal for today was. I wanted you to get an idea, to understand what an agent is, how it works. The complexities happen after that. Now, people from the 4-week AI marketing course with Young Urban Project, you guys have done more complex agents, right? You guys have seen all of that. For people who are new to this opens opportunity, opens doors for you to try this out. So a lot of that, and by the way, agents are really big right now. You can actually create agents and sell them. There are marketplaces where you can build agents like these and you can just sell this agent. How we have done it, you put it out on Etsy or any agentic marketplace, and people are buying this. Companies are actually hiring people to just build agents to figure these things out for them, right? And earlier, companies used to hire automation specialists or freelancers who would do automations for them. Now they are hiring people who build agents. Go to Fiverr, go to Upwork, go to even LinkedIn jobs, and you will see how many people are getting hired for doing this AI integrations within the company. Now, to build agents, one of the key things is that you also need to know various AI tools, how they function, how to use those tools. Because when you know that, you'll be able to deploy them as a part of your agentic workflow also, right? So agent is a structure, is a workflow. But I am able to use all these things because I know how to use SERP API, how to get that to work. What if there are more complex tasks which require other APIs, other complexer tasks? There are also multi-agent systems where in a single workflow, there are multiple agents working together. So one agent becomes the manager, the other agents become its employees. Now, the manager's job is to ensure the employee agents, the sub agents, they are doing the right task, and it checks the quality and all of those things. So if you've ever heard about AI employees as a thing, that is the next step, right? Where you create these very smart agentic systems which can completely take care of tasks. And when I say that take care of tasks, it actually means completely replace humans out of that. Now, some humans are going to get replaced. That's the truth, right? And it's not a great thing, but that's going to happen. But it is also opening a lot of opportunities for humans who know how to create these things, right? Because companies will create this whether you like it or not. So it better be you who's building this stuff. So I hope this session, this masterclass, has opened your mind to that stuff. I hope that this added a lot of value to you. I hope you enjoyed this and this was worth it. So Shant has given me a thumbs up. Sambit says thank you for a valuable session. Hari says thank you for the wonderful session. Kunal says thank you, Puneet, again for a great session. Thank you so much,
I
guys.
personally love to meet you, sir.
I would love to do that. I would love to do that. Namita
I joined this class only see your face.
says
Really,
amazing, amazing.
fully.
Yeah, that's so lovely, Pratik. Thank you so much for saying this. Anam, thank you, Sanjeev. Thank you, Namita. Thank you, Tina. Recordings. We've not yet planned it, but if we do, we'll speak about it and we'll let you know if that can be done. All right. Neha says to get used to N8N, do we require paid version? No, you can just use your 14-day trial. If that ends, you can use another email to get used to it. You can change your emails to use the trial. Can we get that PDF? I just sent it on the group. I will send it again if you missed it. I've just sent it on the chat, right? Let me just send it again on the chat. I've done that. The PDF as in the presentation. No, the presentation, that Young Urban Project always says, we say that it is proprietary. But we'll see if we can arrange some sort of a video for you to refresh this. But again, thank you so much everyone for coming. If you, I wish you a a great evening and wonderful new year. And I hope the next year brings a lot of success for you. I hope we all get to meet more, through things like these, through courses. We get to meet each other a lot more, and we get to interact with each other a lot more. Thank you so much, everyone, and see you soon.
Thank
All right. Thank you for watching this till the end. I hope you learned a lot. If you enjoyed this, make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe to Young Urban Project. You can also check out our courses in the description below. This is Puneet Tandon, and I will see you in the next video.